Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. That was pretty cool having Rob Van Dam in studio. I grew up watching that guy, WWE. A lot of stuff to continue the conversation moving forward here to close out the show. As you know, week and a half ago, Kobe Bryant lost his life along with his 13-year-old daughter and 7 others. The investigation is still ongoing, but of course, the organization that put the story out first, that got it right, was TMZ, and we always love having Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports as he joins us every Thursday right now on the show. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
What's up, fellas? I'm great. How are you?
Doing good.
Doing good, Mikey.
So a lot to talk about as far as Kobe and his daughter. Let's start with Gayle King, because she brought up in a Lisa Leslie interview on CBS the rape case that took place 17 years ago. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so Gayle King interviewed Lisa Leslie. Lisa Leslie was a very close friend, a longtime friend of Kobe Bryant. And, from what I've been told, what really has, been made public since this kind of whole controversy with the interview kind of blew up. But the point of contention here is this was a long, wide-ranging interview where they talked about a whole lot of different topics that had to do with Kobe Bryant and, about his legacy, about basketball, about his, philanthropic efforts. However, the teaser that was released by CBS, was one where Gayle referenced the rape accusations from over a decade ago back in Denver, and asked Lisa Leslie if that complicated Kobe's legacy. And Lisa Leslie gave her answer. Her answer was, no, not at all. But when that teaser was released, there was widespread backlash from ordinary fans, people who are just Kobe fans, to a whole bunch of celebrities, people like Snoop Dogg, who made videos, with so much vitriol going at Gayle King, and people were really upset that she asked that question, and that was the teaser clip that CBS released. So now Gayle is... Gayle was feeling all this heat then, guys, right. Obviously. So then she made a video where she addressed the question, and she said she was highly upset with CBS, which is strange. You really don't hear people knocking their own network very often. But she went at CBS, and she says she was very upset with them that they picked the most salacious part of the interview to release as kind of the trailer for the whole interview.
Well, here's my opinion on that. First of all, she asked the question. I think it's inappropriate to even say the word rape in Kobe Bryant because, number one, he was never convicted of it. They dropped the charges. And number two...
Brian, what exactly did she ask, though?
Well, she asked if the rape case would hurt his legacy. Why even bring that up? Mike, why even bring that up? I don't understand.
And how long was the interview?
All they've said it was a comprehensive interview, a wide-ranging interview. So they haven't put the exact time length out there.
Right.
But
asking that question.
Look, a decision can be made if it's too soon to pose that question. I mean, I think, Brian, even though he wasn't convicted, I think we all remember that happened, and I don't think it's necessarily unfair to have a conversation about if that's something that
exactly
impacts Kobe's legacy. I can get with you though when we say, hey, this guy didn't even die 2 weeks ago now, so is it too soon?
I get that, Mike. I get that. I understand what you're saying. I guess my point is this: Gayle King should not be upset at CBS. She didn't have to ask the question. If she didn't want backlash, then she shouldn't have asked the question. That's my opinion.
I think she should be.
And even going further, Gayle King has been in TV forever.
Right.
She recently did another high-profile interview with R. Kelly. And when they released the short snippet from the R. Kelly clip,
right.
They released R. Kelly losing his mind during that interview. Gayle King is not new to TV. She knows how these things work. So when it's a business, CBS is trying to get people to tune into an interview. And, people have seen 10, 11, 12 days of Kobe Bryant tributes, and I think CBS probably wanted to try to give people something a little bit different. So
I don't blame it. I don't blame CBS. They're in the business of ratings and money. I don't blame them at all for what they did.
I think Gayle King should know that this is how television works. So
I agree.
But asking that question without accusing him of anything in a 30-minute, we'll say it's comprehensive, we'll call it a 15 to 30-minute interview, even if you use it as a gateway to say, well, since then his life has has improved drastically, at least since that entire situation took place.
Right.
I have a problem with the way that CBS cherry-picked the situation, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think you asked the question if you don't want the backlash from it. That's just my personal opinion. He's Mike Babcock, TMZ Sports, joining us on the line. Let's move on to some really touching things. As you know, Mike, Vanessa Bryant, she hasn't spoken up a lot. She's grieving, but she has said some things, and I know that the other day, Gigi, they had a jersey retirement at the private school she attended at, and Vanessa did speak. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. At Gigi's school, the private school, she had her teammates out there, and kind of the principal and Vanessa, like you said, was there, and they retired her number 2 jersey. They had it in they had the jersey in a case, and it's just, when you think about that, this is a 13-year-old having her jersey retired because she just died in a helicopter crash. It's so horrifying. These are the things. It's like, we've heard so much about what happened, but then you see things like this, and with jersey retired, a 13-year-old who's was not even life hadn't even started for her.
Yeah,
it's so sad. I can't imagine what it was like for Vanessa to have to be there and actually have to talk. But it looked like a nice ceremony. It was quiet. It wasn't some big ordeal. It looked like it was really just like the teammates and people that really knew Gigi that were there. This was not some big thing that was for the consumption of the public. But it's another reminder just how horrific this whole thing was.
Yeah, and the fact that there were kids in that helicopter, it's what makes this even worse than it already was. And it's just I agree with you. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. It's terrible. The image in my head, I have these images of Kobe kissing Gigi when she was like 5 or 6 years old, and at the All-Star weekend, and those images are instilled in my head, and I just can't get them out. It's so sad. Let me ask you about
he looked like a great father,
because he was.
After Kobe looked on the court, it looked like nothing gave him joy like being with his family and being with his daughter.
Absolutely, and all of his friends, including Shaquille, but people that were even closer to him recently said the happiest years of his life for the last 3 years when he was able to spend time with his family. I think that tells you what type of person Kobe Bryant was. So let me ask you about the NBA logo. Do you think they're going to change the NBA logo? Because they asked Dennis Rodman about this. He says no. Some people say yes. What do you think? Do you think they're going to do this?
I think they probably will do something else. I think if I had a guess, I'd say that they wouldn't change the logo. For me, I wouldn't be upset if they did change the logo. I think you have someone who was an all-time great basketball player and somebody that we know. A lot of the NBA players who are playing now, all these guys who are stars now, the guy they looked up to, it wasn't Michael Jordan. They were too young for Michael. It was Kobe Bryant. So he's an all-time great player. He's obviously a Hall of Famer. He had a huge impact on today's stars, and he died in a terrible manner, way too young. So I think with all those factors, I don't think it'd be inappropriate in the least bit if they made him the logo.
No, not at all. I totally agree. I hope they do change the logo, Mike. I think he deserves it. Jerry West has been there for 30, 40 years. The game has changed since then. I would say that Kobe Bryant has made it.
And obviously Jerry West has the connection to Kobe.
Right, exactly. So he could pass the torch.
Right. And look, you brought up Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman, one of our cameramen talked to Dennis and asked him, and Dennis said that, I love Kobe, but, I'm really good friends with Jerry West, and I think it should stay Jerry West. So, look, there are different opinions. There were, Dennis Rodman says no, but there are, a ton of celebrities and millions of other people, regular fans, who think that it should be changed. If they don't change the logo, I think that some grand gesture should be made for Kobe. I think if it's retiring his number across the league, I like the idea of that too. So as long as it's something that is
I do too.
Substantial and league-wide, because he had more than just an impact on Los Angeles basketball. This is every NBA team across the world. Kobe impacted people. So as long as it's some type of grand gesture, for me, in my opinion, then I'd be happy with that. But I think the logo would be fitting.
What about changing the Staples Center? It's on Figueroa Way. What about changing that to Kobe Bryant Way or Kobe Way or something along those lines? Do you think something like that will take place actually in Los Angeles?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, I can't adequately describe how hurt the city was, and I was even. It was surprising to me because I'm from the East Coast, so I wasn't here for all the when the Lakers are winning championships and stuff, and the connection that this city had to Kobe is unreal. I was trying to put it into terms like the way Kobe is loved in LA. Maybe it's like the way Derek Jeter is loved in New York, but I don't even think that that's the same. I think Kobe is more loved in LA than Jeter in New York. But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm surprised. I'm anticipating that a lot of things like that will happen where streets are named, and we talk to the local LA government. They're looking for a way to honor Kobe. So I think on a smaller scale, a lot of things like this will be done to honor Kobe. And I think changing the name of the street where Staples Center, which now they're calling the house that Kobe built, I think that'd be a nice way to honor Kobe.
I totally agree. And he was well. I mean, he was loved in the suburbs too, because he had houses in Newport. He had houses. It wasn't just L.A. I mean, it was all over that metropolitan area.
Absolutely. He was in Orange County. It's about an hour, forever if you're driving in LA traffic. But yeah, it was basically up and down California. Kobe Bryant was a god.
Mike, I just want to ask you a few quick questions before we let you go about the Super Bowl, the aftermath of the Super Bowl. Let's start with this Chiefs car crash during the victory parade. What can you tell us about this? What happened?
That was a scary moment there. You had all the cops there who were the guns drawn on this guy who ran through the barriers, and actually the police had to do a pit maneuver, while people were lining the streets to try and stop this person. And, afterwards, it didn't look like that this person was a terrorist or anything. Obviously, it's scary when you see someone going through a barrier with a car, because we know of late that's kind of been a way that we've seen terrorists use vehicles to hurt a lot of people, to kill people. And so you kind of had flashbacks that harken back memories to those incidents. So luckily it was nothing like that. I think it might have just been somebody who had a little bit too much to drink, but they were stopped, and somehow, some way, nobody was hurt, not even the person who was driving the car.
So, Mike, I've noticed in some of these big events, these female models, thank God they're females and not males, streakers are, going out onto the field trying to make a name for themselves. This isn't the first time this happened. We also saw in the World Series women showing their tops. I think there were 2 women. So now we have this woman who was a streaker. She's claiming she was roughed up by security trying to get on the field during the Super Bowl. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, this model, Instagram model, Gayle King, she tried to run on the field. Obviously, she had her butt showing, and we did an interview one of my colleagues did with her yesterday, and she said that they were kind of grabbing her and stuff, and, she had all these bruises, up and down her arms. I mean, the bruises were done. I don't know how she got them. I don't know if security actually gave them to her or not, or if she had them before. But if you look at the arms and you kind of look at the pictures that she gave us on our website, you can see she's bruised up. So, it's just the question is, did security actually give her those bruises or not? But she tried to run up on the field and kind of.
Well, trust me,
if I was trying to stop a streaker from running up and down a field, completely naked, whether it's a guy or a girl, I'm sure I would leave bruises on their arms as well.
Well, trust me,
you got to grab the.
Yeah, I was going to say, trust me, if I decided to show my ass in public, I would have more than bruises. I'd probably be knocked out unconscious.
You'd probably be dead.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very attractive woman. So,
Mike, I want to talk to you about, and this trade just happened 20 minutes ago, but I think it's the worst trade in NBA history. Andre Drummond of the Pistons was just traded to the Cavaliers for John Henson, Brandon Knight, in a second-round pick. How does this trade even happen? How does the NBA let this trade happen?
Yeah, it was shocking to me, too. Andre Drummond is a guy that I liked, and I had the chance to talk to him a lot of times. It's a surprising trade. And you see his numbers last night, too. What do you have, like 31 points, 19 rebounds?
I mean, he's averaging 13, 16. I mean, he's having a very good season, and he's 26 years old. I just don't understand how the NBA allows a trade like that to take place. It just blows my mind.
Right. That feels so one-sided. I know. I think that's the thing with Andre Drummond. I think a lot of people think because he's been in the league for a long time that he's like in his 30s now, but he got into the league. He was still gosh darn young. He's got a lot of basketball left. I know there's a lot of these trades like that are questionable that make me scratch my head, and I think a lot of times you do wish that the NBA would step in and stop a trade that seems unfair or one-sided.
Mm-hmm. Mike, always appreciate it when you take some time to join us every week. Thanks so much. You guys have done a great job with the Kobe stuff. Keep up the great work, and look forward to catching up with you next week, my friend. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. There
thanks
you go.
a lot, Mikey.
Mike Babcock, TMZ Sports. Take a quick break. We will be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.